In the far reaches of the galaxy, where stars were scattered like bright diamonds in endless darkness, a strange event was unfolding. The Empire, which controlled many star systems, was known for its powerful fleets. Their ships were huge, shining, with metal and armed with weapons that could destroy planets. But on this day, even the Empire's mighty fleets felt fear. Commander Rylus stood on the bridge of the warship Vindicator. The large windows showed the deep space outside, calm and quiet. But Rylus was not calm. His eyes were fixed on the glowing screen before him, where blinking dots moved rapidly. "Commander, sensors are detecting a ship moving at impossible speeds," said Lieutenant Karen, her voice tense. "It's not using any known engines or power sources. It's invisible to some of our sensors. It's like it's a ghost." Rylus frowned. "Show me." The screen zoomed in on the ghost ship. It was small, sleek, and unlike any design the Empire had seen. It moved silently, slipping between the stars, passing through their fleet without slowing. "This can't be," said Rylus, shaking his head. "We know every ship design in this sector. No ship should move like this." The Vindicator was part of the Empire's frontline fleet, tasked with protecting the borders. But now it felt as if the ground beneath their feet was shaking. On the main communications console, alarms beeped. The fleet commanders were receiving urgent messages from their scouts. Reports were coming in from multiple sectors. The ghost ship had appeared suddenly, attacking supply lines and then disappearing before anyone could catch it. Admiral Voss, the leader of the fleet, entered the bridge, his face stern. "Commander Rylus, what is the situation?" Rylus turned to face him. "Sir, we have a ship, moving faster than any known technology. It strikes without warning and vanishes. Our fleets cannot track it." Voss's eyes darkened. "This is unacceptable. Our people depend on us. If this ship continues, it will break our hold on the region. Prepare all ships for pursuit. We cannot let this ghost haunt our space." The fleet shifted into battle formation. Dozens of ships, massive and armed with heavy weapons, moved swiftly through space to find the mysterious intruder. But no matter how fast they moved, the ghost ship was always one step ahead. It appeared in one place and then vanished, only to show up behind them. It was as if the ship could bend the rules of space itself. Meanwhile, aboard the ghost ship, Captain Mira, Talon sat in her command chair. Her eyes shone with determination. Unlike the Empire's rigid commanders, Mira was calm and confident. "This is the moment we have waited for," she said quietly to her crew. "The Empire believes they are unstoppable, but they have forgotten one thing. We adapt. We are humans. We think fast, we fight smart, and we never give up." Her crew nodded. They were a small group but skilled and brave. Their ship, the Dauntless, was equipped with new technology that allowed it to move in ways others could not. The Dauntless could bend light around itself, hiding from enemy sensors. It used quantum displacement to jump short distances instantly, confusing the enemy and escaping traps. Back with the Empire, the fleet's frustration grew. Fleet officers argued about strategies. Some wanted to set traps. Others believed overwhelming force would win. But every plan failed. The ghost ship always found a way out. It was like trying to catch a shadow. In the Empire's war room, generals gathered around a holographic map of the sector. Admiral Voss pointed to blinking red dots showing their fleet's positions. "This ship is not just a problem," he said grimly. "It is a message the Empire is not invincible." A young officer spoke up. "Sir, should we call for reinforcements from the capital?" Voss shook his head. "Reinforcements will take time. We must deal with this now, or the entire sector will fall into chaos." As the Empire's fleets chased the ghost ship through asteroid fields and nebula clouds, word spread through the galaxy. Traders, miners, and colonists whispered stories about the mysterious human ship that moved like a spirit. The Empire's grip weakened. Their fleets, once proud and unshakable, were forced to retreat, leaving behind supply stations and outposts. In one remote colony, a small group of humans watched the news with quiet hope. They had heard the Empire's stories of the ghost ship. It was not just a myth, it was their future. Captain Mira Talon looked out at the stars from the Dauntless's bridge. "This is just the beginning," she said. "We are not just fighting for survival. We are fighting for freedom." And so, in the darkness of space, a ghost ship moved like a legend. The Empire fleets retreated, but the story of humanity's return had only just begun. The ghost ship was no longer just a mystery. It was a force that made the whole galaxy stop and watch. But far from the Empire's large warships and crowded space stations, the true power behind the ghost ship was revealed: humanity. On board the sleek, dark vessel known as the Dauntless, Captain Mira Talon stood tall in the command room. The walls were lined with screens showing stars, ships, and maps of enemy movements. But Mira's eyes were fixed on the main screen, where dots moved like shadows through space. "We are not just running," she said, her voice calm but firm. "We are leading. We know the Empire's every move because we think differently. We adapt where they are stuck." The crew around her nodded. They were from many worlds, but all shared one thing: they were human. They had inherited Earth's stubborn spirit, the will to survive no matter the odds. Lieutenant Dax, the ship's lead engineer, walked over to Mira. "Captain, the new stealth systems are working perfectly. The Empire's sensors are blind to us. They don't know where we will strike next." Mira smiled. "Good. That's how it must be. If we give them a chance to see us clearly, they will try to crush us." The Dauntless was a ship like no other. It was built with the best of human technology, mixed with ideas from centuries of wars on Earth. Its engines used quantum displacement, a kind of teleportation that let it jump short distances instantly. Its hull was coated with a material that bent light, making it almost invisible. But more than technology, it was the crew's quick thinking and teamwork that made them deadly. The Empire's ships were large and powerful, but slow to change. Humans, however, used surprise, speed, and clever tactics. Far away in the Empire's capital, high above a massive city of shining towers and crowded streets, the Imperial Council was in chaos. News of the ghost ship's success spread like wildfire. The Empire's leaders could not believe a small group of humans could outsmart their fleets. "Humans are primitive," sneered Councillor Vren. "How can they have such technology?" "We do not know," replied General Kor. "But their ship moves like a ghost, striking fast and vanishing before we can respond." Councillor Vren slammed his fist on the table. "Then we will crush them with force. Bring all fleets to bear. No more running." But even as the Empire planned, the humans took their chance. Captain Mira gathered her officers. "The Empire's fleets are moving toward the outer rim to trap us, but they underestimate how far we can think ahead." She pointed to the star map. "We will use the asteroid belt near the Arkan system as cover. The Empire can't risk chasing us there because their big ships will be slowed down." Lieutenant Dax grinned. "That's where we'll hit them next, then." The Dauntless slipped into the dense asteroid field. Space around them was filled with rocks and dust, making sensors unreliable. The ghost ship's stealth systems made it almost impossible to detect. Suddenly, a message came through on the communications panel. It was a call for help from a mining colony under attack by Imperial patrols. "Captain," said the communications officer, "the colony's supply lines are cut. They need immediate assistance." Mira's eyes narrowed. "Then we give it to them. No one gets left behind. Prepare to jump to the colony." The Dauntless leaped through space, appearing suddenly above the mining colony. The humans moved fast, disabling the patrol ships with precise strikes. The colony's miners cheered. They were tired of Empire control, tired of paying high taxes and living in fear. Now, with the ghost ship's help, they could hope for freedom. Back in the Empire, the defeat at the colony was a serious blow. Admiral Voss faced the angry council. "Your fleets are losing face," Councillor Vren accused. "We cannot allow this rebellion to grow." Voss's voice was steady. "The humans are not just fighting with ships, they fight with hope. We must understand their tactics, not just respond with force." "But how?" asked another council member. "They move like shadows. They think like us, but faster," Voss said. "We need to adapt, or the Empire will lose everything. Meanwhile, Captain Mira held a meeting with her crew. This is more than a fight for territory, she told them. It is a fight for what we believe in: freedom, justice, and the right to decide our own future. Her words inspired the crew. They were not just soldiers. They were a symbol of hope for many who suffered under the Empire. Over the next few days, the Dauntless became a legend. News spread across star systems. A ghost ship that could appear anywhere, strike hard, and vanish without a trace. More, colonies and small fleets joined the humans, inspired by their courage and success. The Empire, once seen as all-powerful, now faced a new kind of enemy, one that refused to be beaten by size or firepower alone. One evening, as the Dauntless sailed quietly through space, Mira stood alone on the observation deck. Stars glittered around her like distant promises. Lieutenant Dax joined her. "Captain, the Empire will send everything they have now. They won't stop." Mira nodded. "Good. That means they fear us. And when they fear us, it means we are winning." Dax smiled. "What's our next move?" Mira turned to face the stars. "We show them that humanity is more than just a ghost story. We show them we are here to stay." The dark vastness of space stretched endlessly around the Dauntless. Captain Mira Talon stood on the bridge, her hands resting lightly on the console. Her eyes scanned the star-filled screen, watching as the Empire's fleets scrambled to respond. "The Empire is sending their best," said Lieutenant Karen, the ship's tactical officer. Her voice was calm, but there was tension in the room. "Their elite fleet is moving into position near the Vornis system. They want to trap us." Mira nodded slowly. "They believe they can catch a ghost." Behind the Dauntless, huge Imperial battleships moved steadily, their metal hulls gleaming coldly. These ships were powerful, with weapons that could destroy entire cities. But they were also slow and heavy, built to crush enemies with overwhelming force, not to chase a quick and clever opponent. "Captain," said Dax, "our sensors show multiple enemy ships approaching. They are trying to surround us." Mira looked at the star map again. "Then we use their weight against them. Prepare the ship for evasive maneuvers. We are going to dance between the stars." The Dauntless was not made for long head-on battles. Its strength was speed, stealth, and surprise. Mira trusted her crew to use every advantage. The Empire fleet closed in. The large ships tried to cut off the Dauntless escape routes. They formed tight formations, hoping to trap the ghost ship in a net of firepower, but the humans moved differently. They slipped through gaps in the fleet like water through rocks. When the Empire opened fire, the Dauntless vanished, not just by speed but by bending light around itself, disappearing from sensors and sight. "It's like chasing smoke," said Lieutenant Karen in awe. The battle went on for hours. The Empire's fleet fired volleys of energy blasts, shaking the empty space around them. The Dauntless dodged, weaved, and attacked only when the moment was perfect. At one point, the Dauntless appeared directly inside the Empire's formation, disabling a key cruiser's engine before vanishing again. The attack was swift and precise, sending the large ship drifting in space, useless. The Empire's commanders were furious. "We cannot let this continue," barked Admiral Voss in his flagship. "Focus all firepower on the Dauntless. Use every sensor and every ship to find and destroy it." But the more they tried, the more the ghost ship seemed to slip away. In the command room of the Dauntless, the crew worked as one. Communication was fast and clear. "Engines at maximum stealth," said Dax. "Tactical systems ready for rapid strikes," replied Karen. "Ready for quantum jumps," added another crew member. Mira smiled slightly. "Good. Let's remind the Empire why they fear ghosts." Suddenly, an alarm sounded. "Incoming fighter squadron," shouted the weapons officer. "They are trying to swarm us." Mira leaned forward. "Deploy countermeasures and split our profile. Send small decoy ships out to confuse their targeting." The crew moved quickly, releasing small drones that looked like tiny ships. The drones scattered in different directions, forcing the fighters to divide their attention. The real Dauntless slipped through the chaos, invisible and silent. The fighters fired blindly at shadows. The battle moved near a massive nebula, a colorful cloud of gas and dust that distorted sensors. Mira saw an opportunity. "Take us into the nebula," she ordered. "Their big ships won't follow. It's too dangerous." The Dauntless slipped inside the glowing mist. The Empire's fleet stayed outside, cautious and slow. Inside the nebula, the Dauntless could move freely, using its stealth to hide. It was a place where speed and cleverness mattered more than size. From inside the nebula, Mira's ship launched a surprise attack on a supply convoy that had been supporting the Empire's fleet. The attack was quick and clean, leaving the Empire scrambling again. Back on the Empire flagship, Admiral Voss knew the situation was getting worse. "This ghost ship is more than just a threat," he said grimly. "It is changing the rules of war." Counselors watching the battle through video feeds murmured nervously. Some whispered that the humans might be more dangerous than they thought. "Prepare all forces," Voss ordered. "We must find their weakness." But Mira was already planning her next move. She gathered her officers once more. "They think we have no place to hide. They are wrong. Every part of space has its secrets." Lieutenant Karen pointed to the star map. "There is an old, abandoned system nearby, the Kryn Belt. It is full of ancient debris and forgotten satellites. Their sensors can't navigate well there." "Perfect," said Mira. "We use the Kryn Belt as our next safe zone. We'll regroup, repair, and plan." As the Dauntless sped toward the Kryn Belt, the Empire fleet fell back, frustrated and battered. The ghost ship had won this round, but Mira knew the war was far from over. The Empire would return stronger and more determined. "We must be ready," she told her crew. "They will not give up easily." The humans were no longer just hiding or running. They were fighting back with skill and courage, and in the cold, endless space the ghost ship sailed on, a symbol of hope, a reminder that even the greatest powers could be challenged by those who refused to surrender. The Dauntless drifted silently among the scattered wrecks and ancient debris of the Kryn Belt. The remnants of forgotten battles and lost colonies floated in the quiet darkness. Here, sensors blinked weakly, confused by the endless floating, metal and rock. It was the perfect place for Captain Mira Talon and her crew to regroup and plan. Inside the ship's command room, Mira stood before a holographic star map filled with blinking lights and unknown symbols. Her crew gathered around, tension and hope mixing in the air. "Here in the Kryn Belt," Mira said, pointing. "We can repair, resupply, and prepare for what comes next. The Empire won't expect us here." Lieutenant Dax nodded. "The debris hides us well. Our stealth systems work even better among the metal and dust." Mira's eyes narrowed. "But we need more than hiding. We need to understand who we are fighting." The crew looked at each other. They had all heard stories of the Empire, fast, powerful, and ruthless. But the humans aboard the Dauntless were different. They fought not just to survive, but to win freedom. Suddenly, the ship's sensors beeped loudly. An unexpected signal had been picked up. Lieutenant Karen, the tactical officer, stared at the screen. "Captain, we're receiving an encrypted transmission. It's coming from deep inside the Empire's controlled space." Mira's brow furrowed. "Play it." The room fell silent as the strange message crackled over the speakers. The voice was old and mechanical, speaking in a language few understood, but the code was clear. It was a distress call from a hidden human research station deep in the Empire's heart. The message told a story of ancient technology, a technology the Empire had found but could not control. The station's scientists had worked on a ship propulsion system unlike anything known before. It was a blend of quantum displacement and energy shielding that made ships almost invisible and capable of sudden jumps through space. The Empire had tried to keep this secret, but the research had been stolen, and the ghost ship, the Dauntless, was the first to use this technology in battle. The room grew quiet. The Empire's power was built on control and fear, but here was proof that humans had something beyond force. They had innovation and courage. Mira looked at her crew. "This changes everything. We are not just rebels. We are carrying the future of space travel." Lieutenant Dax smiled. "No wonder the Empire is desperate to stop us." Outside, the Dauntless crew prepared the ship for their next move. They knew the Empire would come looking for them here, but they were ready. Meanwhile, the Empire's leaders learned the truth about the ghost ship's power. The Imperial Council held emergency meetings. Councillor Vren was furious. They use our own secrets against us. This cannot be allowed. General Kor, calmer but no less worried, said, "We must find the research station and destroy it. If the technology spreads, the Empire will lose its advantage." Admiral Voss spoke slowly. "The humans have turned our greatest weapon into their shield. We must adapt. We cannot fight this war with only strength." Plans were made to send special strike teams into the depths of space to find and destroy the hidden station and the source of the ghost ship's technology. Back on the Dauntless, Captain Mira held a meeting with her officers. "We are not just running anymore," she said. "We hold a key that can change the balance of power. We must protect it," Lieutenant Karen added, "and we must use it wisely. The Empire will come harder than ever." The days passed with tense preparation. The crew trained, repaired the B's ship, and prepared for battles ahead. One evening, as the Dauntless sailed through the darkness, Mira stood at the observation deck, looking at the stars. Lieutenant Dax joined her. "Do you think we can win?" Dax asked quietly. Mira smiled softly. "We have to. Because if we don't, the galaxy will fall into shadow." Their fight was no longer just about survival. It was about hope. About a future where no one would live in fear. And in the cold emptiness of space, the ghost ship moved like a spark, small but powerful enough to light a fire that could change the fate of all. The Dauntless slipped through space like a shadow, moving quietly toward the heart of the Empire's communication network. Captain Mira Talon stood on the bridge, her eyes steady and focused. The crew worked in silence, preparing for a strike that could change everything. "The Empire's main communication hub is heavily guarded," said Lieutenant Karen. "But if we can disrupt it, their fleets will be blind. They won't be able to coordinate their attacks." Mira nodded. "Then that is our target. We strike fast, hit hard, and disappear." The journey was tense. Every moment, the Dauntless risked detection, but their stealth systems held strong, hiding them in the darkness between stars. As they approached the communication hub, the massive structure appeared, a giant network of satellites and antennas orbiting a dead planet. Its glow was faint but steady, a silent signal reaching out to the Empire's fleets across the galaxy. "Enemy patrols are tight," Karen reported. "They expect an attack." Mira smiled faintly. "Then we'll give them a surprise they won't forget." The Dauntless dove into the battle zone. Energy blasts lit up space as patrol ships fired, but the ghost ship was too fast and too clever. Using its quantum jumps, the Dauntless appeared inside the enemy's formation, disabling power nodes and communications arrays with surgical precision. The Empire's fleet scrambled, but without their main hub, their coordination fell apart. Ships fired blindly, unable to focus their power or share information. On the Dauntless, the crew worked quickly, planting devices to disable the hub permanently. "We're almost done," said Lieutenant Dax, fingers moving over the controls. Suddenly, an alarm blared. "Incoming fleet reinforcements," shouted the weapons officer. "They're closing in fast." Mira's eyes flashed. "Then we finish quickly. Full power to engines. Prepare for escape." The Dauntless jumped away just as the reinforcements arrived, leaving confusion and chaos behind. Back on the Empire's flagship, Admiral Voss stared at the damaged communication hub on his screen. "They've struck at the heart of our power." Councillor Vren slammed his fist. "This rebellion grows bolder every day," but Voss shook his head. "It's not just boldness. They are organized. They have a plan." Meanwhile, news of the attack spread quickly. Across the galaxy, oppressed colonies and small fleets saw the ghost ship's success as a sign of hope. Many sent messages offering support, supplies, and fighters to the humans. Captain Mira stood before her crew. "This is the moment we have worked for. We are not just survivors, we are leaders. Others look to us now." The crew cheered quietly, their hearts lifted, but the fight was far from over. The Empire's fleets, weakened and disorganized, began to fall back. Imperial commanders hesitated, unsure how to fight an enemy that could vanish and strike at will. In the Dauntless's command room, Mira studied the star maps. The Empire will regroup. We must be ready. Lieutenant Karen pointed to a nearby star system. There are several colonies ready to rise against the Empire. If we help them, we can build a real force. Mira smiled. Then that is our next step. We light the fire everywhere. As the ghost ship moved to rally new allies, the Empire's grip on the sector began to crumble. The once mighty fleets were now symbols of fear and failure, and in the hearts of many, the story of humanity, fast, smart, and unbreakable, became a beacon of freedom. The stars stretched endlessly around the Dauntless, a silent witness to the war that was changing the galaxy. Captain Mira Talon stood on the bridge, her gaze steady as the ship moved toward the next battle. Around her, the crew prepared, knowing this fight was more than just theirs. It was for everyone who dreamed of freedom. The Empire's fleets had retreated, but not without plans to return stronger. Still, the humans and their allies were ready. They had grown from a small, ghostly ship into a rallying point for many worlds. Lieutenant Karen looked at the star maps. Captain, reports show dozens of colonies rising up. They are inspired by us. Mira smiled. That is the power of hope. When people believe in a cause, no empire can hold them down. The Dauntless approached the system where a new alliance was forming. Ships of many shapes and sizes gathered there. Humans, aliens, former Empire soldiers who had turned away from oppression. This coalition is our strength, Mira said. Together, we are more than just a ghost. We are a force. The Q. New allies welcomed the humans. They shared ships, weapons, and knowledge. They trained together, learning from the Dauntless crew's experience and courage. But the Empire was not silent. Its war machines prepared for a massive assault. The Council demanded victory. The ghost ship and its allies must be destroyed. Admiral Voss watched the fleets gather, his face grim. This is the last chance. If we lose this battle, the Empire falls. The humans and their coalition knew the same. This was the moment to show the galaxy what they were made of. As the massive Imperial fleet entered the system, the Dauntless and its allies took their positions. Ships floated in formation, ready for the fight. Captain Mira gave the order. Hold, steady. We fight for freedom. The battle began with a roar of energy weapons and engines. The Dauntless moved like a ghost through the chaos, striking weak points and protecting allies. The human tactics, fast and flexible, confused the Empire's commanders. Their big ships could not keep up with the hit-and-run attacks. Every victory gave the coalition more courage. More ships joined the fight, swelling their numbers. On the Empire flagship, frustration grew. They are everywhere, Counselor Vren said. We cannot hold this system. Admiral Voss nodded. We underestimated them, but we will not give up. The battle raged for hours, each side losing ships and heroes, but the humans and their allies fought with the fierce spirit of those who had nothing left to lose. In the final moments, the Dauntless led a daring assault on the Empire's command ship. Captain Mira and her crew used all their skills and technology to break through defenses. The command ship was damaged and forced to retreat. The Empire's fleet scattered. Cheers erupted across the coalition's ships. The ghost ship had turned the tide. After the battle, Mira addressed the coalition. This victory is not the end, it is a beginning. Together we will build a future where no one lives in fear. The message spread fast. The Empire's power was breaking, and new leaders were rising. Mira looked out at the stars once more, knowing their fight was far from over, but hopeful for the first time in many years. The ghost ship was no longer alone. Humanity had returned, strong, united, and ready to shape the galaxy's destiny.